Yeah.
Hello, marketers. Today's conversation is wholesome. It is more about you as a corporate professional. Joining me today on the Marketeers League Talk is an accomplished author, speaker, and HR professional with over 25 years of experience in diversified senior management roles with exposure to US, UK, Europe, and Indian multinationals. An author of 6 books and more than 1,000 articles on leadership, managerial effectiveness, HR trends, management, culture, job interviews, etc. in the public space, he is among the 101 most fabulous HR tech leader by the World's Leader Congress, recipient of Global HR Excellence Exemplary Leader Award at the Asia Pacific HRM Congress. He is an honorary fellow and chair India chapter Leaders Excellence at Harvard Square. Join me in welcoming Mr. Raj Gupta to Marketeers League Talk. Welcome, sir, to the show. I hope you're doing fine.
No, I'm doing great, and thank you so much. And I'm very happy to see your infectious smile and witness it firsthand. So thank you so much. Look forward to the conversation, Sachin.
Great, sir. So as the topic that we have taken around employees growth, employees as a brand ambassador. So what are your thoughts on employees as a brand ambassador, and what are the benefits of it?
I think when you look at, there are two aspects to it. Employee as a brand ambassador to the organization, which are your customers. So your organization's customer, which is your client, and second is your prospective employees. So they are also they can also be a brand ambassador. So when you look at employee as a brand ambassador, there are two facets of it. One, what you do to the client, and second is your prospective employees who would join your organization in future. In my view, this client first versus putting employee first. Employee first is a better option because your client uh, get a feel of your brand, not directly through you, but your employee. So putting employee first always helps. So your employees are extension of your brand. That is one aspect of it. Second, on the social side. So let's say if you have thousands of employees who talk positively about your organization, this automatically helps you attract talent. And the investment that you need to make in terms of branding, you don't need to make it because your associates or your employees are acting as your brand investor. So there are twin benefit if you put employees first and then they act as a brand ambassador, not only to your client, but also to the prospective employees. Thank you, sir.
That's something really important, sir. And taking this conversation to another concept is entrepreneurship, which is a buzzword now in the corporates. But still, no, many companies don't try this, or maybe they avoid this. So, as an HR, what would be your thought to convince the management for it? So, end of the day, employees also wants their wings to fly. So, what are your thoughts on it?
I think if you go back to 20th century or end of it, life was different. Now, over the last decade, things have changed. And if I witness in a lot of progressive organizations, there are entrepreneurship opportunities. They give free hand to their leadership to build their businesses. Now, there is, you have less of risk. Like entrepreneur, as an entrepreneur, you have a more risk and more reward. Here, there is a less risk and less reward. However, you get access to company resources and capabilities to develop either the product or service or make it a go-to-market strategy. So, in my view, not only the startup, but many mid-size and large-size organizations have also moved ahead in this direction, and also, their packages also are being structured like that in terms of one is your fixed component, second depends on your growth that you bring to the table. So there is a great deal of progress as I see in the last decade in this direction. So,
That's right. That's right. So another concept that middle level professionals, which they feel is the career crisis. no, salespeople to an extent, yes, because we are a community of sales and marketers, and we keep on discussing this aspect as well. So, is it important for a no middle level person, middle level, those who are into middle level career, to move to a leadership positions, or how can they can have a satisfying corporate life and can be really getting money also?
Right. Now, number one, it baffles me. I meet lot of salespeople who struggle to sell themselves. So I'll give you an example. It's more than a decade old example. So I was interviewing one senior guy who was already selected by the top leadership. And I was asked to interview him. And I said, sir, if at CEO, CFO level is done, then why do you need an HR guy to interview a person? He said, no, I like to have your opinion. And I met this guy. And I told him that you have a fair idea. You've already spent so much of time talking to the CXOs in our company, and it was a senior level position. I only have one question. You have done, sales, marketing for such a long period of time. You figure out companies, you do the research, you do everything. Why did you fail to figure out a right company for your own self? Because in roughly 15 years, you have changed 7 to 8 companies. So where do you think you went wrong? Of course, the person explained and all that stuff happened. But this is the problem that I see with the salespeople. While they are pretty good in pre-sales, mining the company, but they are not able to mine it for themselves. Then what is the point if you are a great salesman when it comes to product, a great salesman when it comes to services, a great salesman when it comes to idea, then what is the problem? Why can't you sell yourself? Because you need to be your brand ambassador. Before you are going to be brand ambassador of your customer or your company, you should be investing on yourself. So that's the way I look at it. As far as career trajectory is concerned, there are two paths generally people have. One is SME path, right? It's both for technical or if you want to have a pure play sales kind of stuff. And another is project management is what we call it. So one side you grow as a subject matter expert, and then you become a technical architecture and all that kind of stuff happen. On the other side, you become a project manager wherein you have people responsibility. You're not a single person. So that is more of a choice, Sachin, in my view. What trajectory do you want? So if you want to move into a role which is leadership, wherein you have people responsibility, then let it be. Do you need to understand whether you have those capacities or capability, to lead a large set of people. Being a good salesman versus leading set of people are two different qualities. If you have combination of both of them, then go in that direction. If not, then you build your deep domain expertise as a great salesman. And earn your stripes for money or whatever you earn.
So I have a follow-up question on that. So as you were mentioning about the example of the candidate who switched 7 to 8 jobs in the 15 to 17 years career, but then what would be the ideal set of numbers that you would look forward to? Maybe 3, 4, or maybe 2, or maybe 6 in a span of 15 years that one should grow up in their leadership role?
I think it is contextual, because if you talk to youngster today, they'll kill you. So loyalty, which we used to talk about in the historical past, has a different meaning. So, and we say we don't live in an ideal world. So there's no ideal scenario, right? But I personally believe, and a lot of youngster would be at a variance with this, always feel that, and I ask some of these questions when I'm doing my town halls or talking to the larger audience, how many CXOs or CEO we find those who would have changed 20 jobs in 20 years and become CEOs? and people don't find any example. So generally it takes, howsoever stud you are, 12 to 14 years to get to the top position. Minimum that. You move from staff to middle to top. There are few designations. Howsoever stud you are. Now that 14, 15 years is required. Now, if you keep moving, from one company to another every year, by the time you start understanding the company, by the time you understand, you go through that churn. Sometimes get good bosses, sometimes you get jerks, but they both act as a great teacher. Good bosses teaches you, as I was sharing on the LinkedIn yesterday. Good bosses teaches you what to do, and bad bosses teaches you what not to do. And you sleep with that bad bosses most of the time. You keep thinking about them. So you give them so much of power in your mind and space. So both are great teachers. So it is imperative, if both are great teachers, we learn from it and go as per our aspiration and the context that we operate in.
I think this is something very important insight that you have shared now, and this will clarify a lot of doubts for the marketers out there. Lovely.
There is no scenario like you can change 10 jobs in 10 years, but figure it out. What is your motivation? Like if you say, I want to become an marketing, for example. So I want to be known as a marketing expert, if not in the larger world, let's say in India, then your motivation is different. If you say, I'm making, let's say 10 lakhs today, and I need to make, 20 in the next 3 years, then your motivation and action would be different. So you need to figure it out, where you want to go from a long-term perspective. So career is roughly 40 years, so you need to see from that longevity perspective. In that process, few years here and there, doesn't really make much of a difference. And if you see most of the CXOs, they would have grinded at one company for a long time. Another analogy I use with people is कि आप छोटे छोटे गड्ढे खोदोगे तो क्या oil निकलेगा? Small pits, if you are digging, will you get the oil? Answer is no, even if you dig 100. But to get oil, you have to dig at one place, deeper, thousands of feet deeper, and then your depth and breadth will develop. So that's my view when it comes to career building. Think big, think long term.
So here, I would like to pose a question to you on the company's culture, which at times become a reason for a change. So how to stay motivated in a culture when the performance does not become the prime criteria for you to stay or maybe to earn money? Because there is no set culture about the person's growth, the abilities to use, and lot many. So what is your take on this, sir?
I think there are two ways to go about it. One is to look outside, and second to look within. I think कबीर जी का दोहा है या किसी और का है कि बुरा जो देखकर मैं चला, बुरा ना मिलिया कोई, जो दिल खोजा आपना, मुझसे बुरा ना कोई. Now, do you want to look within? In one of my experience outside of India, I was feeling, yeah, this work is not happening, the culture is not right. And one of the leader came to me and said, Raj, are you not getting biased? Because the way we work in India versus the way people work in Europe or let's say in UK or other places are different. Now, expecting the same behavior, is this their problem or your problem? Then I figured out that this unconscious bias is something that I was having. And it took me roughly 9 months, every day reminding myself, though I could adjust my behavior. But the point was, it should not come in my subconscious also. I should see it from their shoes first. So I worked on my unconscious bias. And then I was talking to one of the leaders. I said, why don't you use your authority to get the work done? He said, use your persuasive skills. I said, the other person doesn't want to do that. How do I use it? He said, you need to figure it out. So 2 lessons I learned during my stint outside of India. One is unconscious bias. Let go of it. It should not happen. You should not manage it. Should not happen automatically in your future. Second is persuasive communication. Because in whatever culture you're talking about, there are certain people who are growing, right? Some
Right.
people are growing in that culture also.
True that.
Some you need to adapt. You need to adapt. You need to change, because culture is what? Culture is result of the behavior of that combined pool of employees that work in the organization or in middle management or leadership position. Unfortunately, the employee relates it with one manager that he or she works with. They feel, this is the culture. Change the boss if there is an opportunity. But how do you change it? It is an art. Like at some point in time, in my career, early founding career when I was in GE, I thought I'll quit. And I had a coach and I called him up. I said, sir, I'm really feeling shitty. You're vulnerable. You want to, not feeling good, not happy with your boss. I said, I want to quit the company. And he asked me, do you want to quit the company or quit the boss? I said, company is good. I want to quit the boss. And he said, Raj, you are half a decade in this company. Do I need to tell you how to quit your boss? So don't quit the company, quit your boss. And of course, we quit the boss. And then I continued for another 5 years in the company. So having that right advice, I call it luck, labor under correct knowledge, LUCK. So to be lucky, you need to identify a person who will guide you towards luck. For example, somebody guided me way back in 2004, 5, when I was feeling jittery, or maybe it was 3. And he said this, change it. It took me roughly 3-4 months. And in larger organization, it is easier to change. Right. So persuasive skills and unconscious bias are the two things that you must work on, because as you grow as a leader, you may need to grapple with the same situation. So don't create cobwebs in your mind. Talk it out.
Very important. Absolutely. And I'm sure this advice would help us a lot of people to get out of the phenomena. They feel demotivated in the environment they must be facing out. So,
this victimhood doesn't work. Always I say this to marketing guys also, jamana humse hai, hum jamane se nahi. So have that spirit and then move forward.
Lovely. For sure. So this is a thought towards then managerial effectiveness. So as you mentioned, so then if this is this scenario, so then how to handle a team?
I think there's a book I have done, Caterpillar to Catalyst, and I have talked about roughly 25 set of characteristics through a storytelling and through my experience. If you look at team, I have always looked at it myself. What I want from my manager. I want from my manager that he should be genuinely and sincerely interested in my development. Second, he should appraise me, at a set interval and give me a sense of direction. Ki Raj, 2 to 3 years down the line, this is your career trajectory. And if the person does it, then I feel good about that manager. Right? Instead of catching me doing wrong things, if the manager is focused in catching people doing the right things and appreciate then and there, then I like that manager. Right? So if in a nutshell, I have to say genuine and sincere interest in your employee, appraise them, give them feedback, timely feedback, and career direction 2 to 3 years down the line. Third, focus on their strengths rather than their weaknesses. And fourth, if you have to, feeling bad about any situation, praise in public. A lot of leaders, managers suffer from this disease. Praise in public and reprimand in private. People do reverse generally, which is not good, because I don't know whose quote is this. I think Angela, whatever you say to people, they can forget it. but how you make them feel is something that they are never going to forget. So take a cue out of it. Your job as a manager is to ensure development of your people. Convert C's to C's, C player into B player to A player into the stud. That is our job, capability building, not supervisor.
Right.
So act as a facilitator, as a third year student, like in college. Uh, so act like that. There's the current generation doesn't need supervisor. Even your own kid don't listen to you nowadays. Why do you expect the guy who is like MBA and all that will listen to you? Just because of that alignment with the paycheck. And the person who doesn't have too much of dependency on the paycheck would not listen to you. So here another key component that come into play: command respect, not because of position but because of your disposition. Life would be better.
This is fabulous that you have shared, sir. We have discussed about your success model for the fast track growth. I would love to see more on that.
I think I could. I have done an article on that. If this screen could be shared, I can share my screen, and while I'll walk you through this, uh, your audience could go through at their disposal. But this is how I look at success.
Yes, sir.
So when I look at success, I have defined it. It's there. I have put a formula there: P into P into P, which is first P is performance, second P is projection, and third is perception. And if we have a right perception, it leads to right exposure, and right exposure lead to right brand image, and brand image leads to your equity. Now, let me take an example of Navratna oil. If Mr. Bachchan is not promoting it, will you have an idea about this brand?
No.
If Shah Rukh Khan is, do you think Shah Rukh Khan is the best auto expert?
Of course not.
But he sells. But he sells. He sells the car well, right? Lux as a soap, is there for decades and decades, and it was a beauty shop soap for a long period, unless Shah Rukh took bath with it, and now it makes men also handsome.
Right.
So your brand plays a critical role in your success, and brand comes through your performance. As I said, first P, as it is shown there, performance. And how do you position your performance, which is projection? That leads to perception. And then your exposure, image, and equity. For example, in the corporate environment, if you are as a sales leader or sales manager, are very hardworking, but if you are not able to project your achievement to the larger audience or the decision makers, how? And if somebody says, yeah, show me a guy who is a great sales guy, as well as bring in people skill as well, right?
Right.
Or marketing skills as well. And somebody will say, oh, look at this guy. Sachin is doing amazing job with regard to that. And so basis that perception that Sachin is doing right, Sachin will get an exposure on that project. And basis that exposure, there would be an image that would be built. And once the image is built, there a time comes in at a higher level. Whatever you say, people value it. That's where you command respect, not because of position, but because of disposition. So people say, Sachin ne bola hai, to dam hai boss. I think I agree. So there are some leaders also, who we respect. If they say something, we know, yeah, this guy is saying because, he want us to become better. So,
right.
So that's the way we need to look at it. I think at leisure, your audience could read it. I have talked about in detail about this. So I just thought I'll share this. So this is called pi model. P into P is equal to E, is what I say. So this is the mathematical equation of success.
Lovely.
Thank you.
This is amazing, and I'll share the link also when launching this video on the platform. So this is amazing, and I think this has given us a clarity for persons to understand how to move further. You know, there could be chances, and you can figure it out. Absolutely, the projection of the work so is something very important. So before
I'll give you another example for corporate professional. Some people say, I am working hard. You know, it's not my job to project myself. Okay. And I said, tell me one thing. Your manager is more interested in whose career? His own or your own? And his answer invariably would be, sir, of course, his own. I said, then who has to take charge of your destiny? And the person says, I need to take charge. I said, when you get under the stool, how will you take charge? Hide yourself, right? I'm not saying that you need to wear it on your sleeves. I'm only saying manage the operational information flow, right? So position yourself, work on those opportunities, work on those unpopular assignments that come into your leadership meetings. Take something which is over and beyond your normal work approaches to showcase your skill set. So it's important and for us to take charge of our own destiny. Over to you, Sachin.
Very nice, sir. Very nice. So before we wrap it up, as we are a sales and marketer community, and you are an senior HR professional, sir, I would like to hear from you the top 5 great qualities you would look out in a marketer's, you know, if you hire him or maybe under your recommendations.
So let's say if I have to hire a senior guy, the number one quality that I would look at is business acumen. And business acumen is nothing but your ability to anticipate the global trends. Know the language of business, that is finance, P&L understanding, commercial savviness. So that's one skill set. Second skill set as a marketer, I would look at is the change management skills. Your ability to take all the stakeholders along, because you would work with variety of people, you know, as a senior person. Now, do you bring in that credibility or the apparatus with you? You may use Six Sigma principle, jamming, TQM, gold standard, whatever, but your change management ability is critical. Third, you should be par excellence communicator. When it comes to marketing, guys, people feel, you know, your stride should showcase that you are different. So par excellence communication is another key thing. And biggest thing I look for people in addition to these three is, I'm not worried about domain expertise, but because for a senior guy, it's given, it's a hygiene. Like I should be good in my HR processes and procedures. As a marketer, you should be good at basic stuff. But your learning agility, how fast you can shift with the shifting ecosystem. Like for example, pre-COVID and post-COVID, it has simply changed the overall scenario. And the fifth quality, which marketers are also tested, is ability to deal with ambiguity. You know, how do you deal with the gray area in the organization, which is not black and white, is another trait that I would look into these folks.
That's right. This is something phenomenal, sir, you have shared with us today. And before we wrap up, would like to have your final thoughts on the marketing soul, our community of passionate marketers.
I think it's an amazing job, because I always feel we are lost in our day-to-day stuff. If people can come together and exchange ideas, thoughts, or maybe, you know, use each other as a sounding board, because sometimes you get an idea, you're not very sure about it. Once you transplant your idea into somebody else's head, you know, ideas start taking shape. a better shape. That's where this collaboration come into play. That's where the game is, and I'm glad that there is a community that can talk to each other, that could share each other success and celebrate it. Also, at the same time, providing a platform wherein you can also discuss the failure and learn from each other. Because there are two ways to learn. One, you want to get into the ditch yourself. कि गड्ढे में खुद गिर के सीखते.
Right.
Second, people are the category who learns कि सामने वाला गड्ढे में गिर गया, उसको देख के you avoid and change your direction.
Right.
So गड्ढे में गिरना ही नहीं है. Right. It's difficult to teach this to youngsters because they want to experiment firsthand. But learning it, not making the mistakes or learning from the failures of others is the biggest quality. And I think if that is being debated within your group, it's amazing. And bringing people like me who are not, this thinking is unique, which I appreciate. And I think I told you, what would an HR guy do in marketing, community? Because so it's important to have people from variety of spheres. Even today, I like to connect with people who are not from my field. Somebody is a technical architecture, somebody is from a dancing area or acting area. They help you develop perspective, multiplicity of perspective, which if you keep talking to your own people from the same community, you may not get it. So amazing job. And I wish you, Sachin, and wish Marketing Soul a great success ahead. In whatever capacity I could be of support, I can be reached out. I share my learnings on LinkedIn on a regular basis. Feel free to leverage that, my LinkedIn profile. And if I could be of any assistance to you or any of your community member, I would be happy to support. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you so much, Raj sir, for your wisdom of knowledge and the motivational aspect that you have shared with us. And truly humbled to have you on our show. And I truly felt that the HR perspective in the marketing community is also very much required so that they can understand this aspect as well. So thank you so much once again for being with us on the Marketers League Talk.
Thank you, Sachin. Wish you all the very best and thanks for having me here. Thank you.